So for the past few weeks I've been scraping my bare knuckles down at the Pine Pot journey so I can tell you whether you should play it, plat it, or just downright avoid it. That one bullshit PlayStation Platinum unlock. So Streets of Rage 4 has a total of 38 trophies, which includes the Platinum Trophy. So let's talk first about the easier trophies that you can get. First up is Eating Off the Ground, which requires you to eat a healing item. So these are the chickens and other sort of snacks that you can find lying in bins of all places, or barrels, or whatever else they may be hiding under tables or whatever. As soon as you pick up your very first one in the game, you will unlock the trophy. So it's a really easy one to just sort of gently ease you into the game, to be honest. Next up is Birth of the Cool, which requires you to catch a weapon in midair. So as you're playing, you'll often see pipes and knives, swords, or spears on the floor that you can pick up, and you can actually throw these as well as swing them. So if you throw it with circle, you have a chance to then grab it by pressing circle again while it's in the air, as they sort of bounce back towards you. So once you do that once, you'll unlock that trophy. Next up is Combo Pro, which is part of a series of trophies related to getting a large combo. So this first one is for a relatively small combo, which wouldn't be too hard to get, and you'll probably just get this naturally as you're playing. So once you see it get to the green and you've done a load of hits without getting hit, you can just let the combo time out and you will get the super combo rating and you'll unlock that trophy. Next up is Dude Where's My Car, which requires you to break the car in the streets, which is the very first level of the game. So as you go down the road, you'll see this car crash into the wall, and you get an opportunity to do a very Final Fight and Street Fighter bonus round style destruction of the car by constantly whacking it. So once you blow it up, you'll see a star power up that you can pick up, and you will also unlock the shiny trophy for your troubles. Next up we have Life's a Struggle, which requires you to free yourself from a grab. So there are a few enemies in the game that can grab you, such as bosses like the Commissioner or Max from Streets of Rage 2. And there are also these police enemies with the green shirts. So if you get grabbed, you just need to spam some of the buttons and that will eventually let you break free. And once you do that, you'll get the trophy. Next up we have Collateral Damage, which requires you to kill 3 people from a grenade or an explosion. So one of the earliest places to do this is the sort of pier level where you see Big Ben slap one of the Garcias. This area has a load of enemies and there's a big barrel in the middle and they all sort of bunch over it. So just wait until they're all around and just kick the barrel and get out of the way and you'll easily kill 3 with that. Next up we have Wasted Wine, which requires you to break a wine bottle. And one of the best places to do this is the Nora boss fight, because there's a standing glass wine bottle on the floor for some reason in this boss fight area. So if you or your co-op partner pick it up and slam it into someone's face, or you just throw it at them and smash the bottle, you'll get that trophy. We then have This Is Wood Oak City, which requires you to kill an enemy by tossing them into a pitfall, so basically a hole in the stage. And one of the best places to do this is the pier level, as there are lots of holes in the actual wooden pier. So you can either just throw them by walking up to them, grabbing them and then doing a throw move, or by just kicking them or knocking them down into the hole. Next up we have Miss Me, which is one of the few sort of story-based progression trophies. So after getting to stage 6, I believe it is, and defeating Estelle for the first time, stage 4 rather, sorry, I think you unlock the trophy for meeting Adam. I can't quite remember if it was at this point or not, but I feel like this is where you did it in the story. It's just I always skip the cutscenes after the first time, so I'm not actually too sure, but at some stage you'll meet Adam, and then once the scene ends, you will actually unlock him, so you can actually play as him then, and that is when you'll unlock the trophy as well. So he's quite a good character to use.
Streets of Rage 1 character coming back into it. You won't get away that easy.
Next up we have the Throwback Trophy, which requires you to discover a hidden retro level, and there's a few of these in some of the stages of the game. I think there's about 4 or 5 in total, and they take place within an arcade machine, which if you play Streets of Rage 2 will look very familiar. So these are often hidden, but really in plain sight in the background, whether they're in police cells or in shop windows. You have to just go through. maybe walk back on yourself. The trick to getting into these, however, is to not actually punch them. No, instead, you need to use the taser that is either on the floor in this area or dropped by one of the police sort of guards that have the tasers. So you just need to pick it up and then make sure you hit the machine with the taser and not throw it at them. And then that will short circuit the arcade machine and allows you to enter a bonus level, which is usually just a boss fight area from Streets of Rage 2. Next up we have Broke My Toy, which is another bronze trophy which requires you to break a spear, and you do this on the Chinatown level when you enter the dojo for the first time. You'll be in an area with a spear on the floor and a load of Galciers will just storm into this, and you just kind of have to just whack everyone with a spear. Once you slam people's faces into the spear enough times, the spear will actually damage, but it's one of the more stronger weapons in the game, I feel. There is also another chance to use a different spear in case one of the Galciers pick it up and throw it, as one of the Galciers will spawn in with it, so you have two opportunities here. If for some reason you find that you've killed all the enemies and you still have the spear, you can just pick it up and take it into the next room, which is full of, I believe, Donovan enemies, those annoying ones that will uppercut you, so you can do it there as well. We then have Combo Expert, which is the second of, I believe, 3 combo related trophies, and this one requires you to get another bigger combo, so you want to get this into the sort of bluey purple sort of colour. It's more of damage than actual hits. So here we can use that stage 1 and get the car, and if we move to the side of the car you can actually spawn in these enemies, and that will allow you to easily get an amazing combo. Next up we have Dojo Master, which requires you to beat Shiva. So he is one of the end of level bosses. I think he is actually stage 6 in the Chinatown level. He's just out in the back of the dojo that you'll go in, where we got the spear trophy. He's not a bad boss fight. He can do this move where he clones himself, which makes him a bit annoying, but he's not too bad.
Get out.
And it's another one of those story ones, so as soon as you defeat him, you'll get that trophy. Next up, we have It's Chilean here, which requires you to break both of the elevator windows, so the left and right window on this stage. I think it's stage 9, the Waay Tower, where you would fight Max at the top. So once you go into the lift, you have these glass windows either side, and you can either go up to them and punch them, or you can kick or knock or throw enemies into them, and that will start to crack the window. And they are quite strong, so you will have to do it quite a bit. But as soon as you smash it, it helps you out, because you can then throw enemies out and kill them instantly. Just make sure you don't get knocked out. And also remember to do the other side. This is a lot easier if you have a co-op partner, because you can both sort of concentrate on either side of the window. But you can actually stay in this area if you don't kill the very last enemy, so you can easily do it. There's enough time to get them both smashed, and as soon as you do that, you will unlock the trophy for your efforts. Next up, we have Snap Out of It, which follows directly on from the lift section of that stage 9, as we have to then defeat a hypnotised, shall we say, Max, who is doing the biddings of Mr. X's children. So we just have to snap him out of it by smacking him around a bit. Now he is one of the more annoying bosses for me, because he's just so bullshit with his grabs and his slams that just take up big chunks of your health. And when he does that roll, he's just fucking constantly can ping you around the room. But if you do manage to kill him and defeat the stage 9 boss, you will unlock that trophy. Next up, we have Demolition Man, which requires you to use a wrecking ball to kill an enemy. And there's a few areas in the game where you'll see these. One on these rooftops in that, I think it's stage 10 maybe? It's the one with the DJ boss fight at the end. You can easily just kick the wrecking ball or punch it and it'll start swinging. Just make sure there's an enemy on the other side, and eventually you'll kill him and get the trophy. Next up, we have an Elegant Death, which requires you to kill an enemy with a chandelier, and these only appear in 2 places on the very last stage, stage 12. Once you go into the castle, you'll be in this large corridor, and at the very tops of the screen you'll see these wires connecting the chandelier, so you just have to wait until enemies come in from the right and use the sword or just punch the rope to knock it down and kill an enemy. Next up, we have a silver trophy called Old School, which requires you to beat Mr. X's kids, Miss and Mr. Y. So this is a double boss fight where you fight 2 of them at the same time and then have to fight a giant mech. But as soon as you do that, you will unlock the trophy. And whoever you've used to get that far and complete the game, you will then unlock a character-specific trophy. And as I used Axel, I unlocked the all-clear Axel trophy for completing the game with Streets of Rage 4's version of Axel. And the game itself isn't that bad. I would advise you to start on normal, just to get a nice feel for it. It will still be a little bit of a challenge. You may have to repeat some of the levels, especially the later ones, but it shouldn't be too hard to do. And it'll give you a good idea of the sort of challenges that lay ahead. There's a load of other sort of story completion trophies for completing it with Blaze, Floyd, Sherry and Adam, all of the Streets of Rage 4 characters. So you just have to go back through. You can do it on easy if you need to speed it up so it's a bit quicker, but you just need to complete it with all of those base game characters. But there are also other characters that you can unlock as you're playing through, which will tie into this one called All Clear Streets of Rage 1. So as you're playing, you'll earn points from your score, and once you get to certain thresholds, you will unlock characters to play as, and these range from the Streets of Rage 1 roster, the Streets of Rage 2 roster, and the Streets of Rage 3 roster, including Shiva. So you just need to then pick one of those characters and play through the entire story from stage 1 all the way to the end of stage 12 rather, not 2, that would be really short, and then you'll unlock the trophy. So there's then another one called All Clear Streets of Rage 2. You only have to do one character from each of the games, so you can pick Blaze and Axel Streets of Rage 2 and you'll get both trophies. And then we have an All Clear Streets of Rage 3, which is another easy silver trophy, to be fair. I would recommend picking Dr. Zan for this. I didn't use him until very later on in the game, because I don't really remember playing much as him in the original Mega Drive game, but he's actually really cool to play as. Next up we have Somebody Call the Cops, which you'll easily get when you play as a Streets of Rage 1 character, as you just need to do their special, which if you played that game originally, you remember it's the police car that comes and then just shoots a rocket from miles away and all the way back in stage 1, and it will just hit you wherever you are. And once you do that once, you'll get the trophy. Now on to some of the more annoying trophies in Streets of Rage 4. So these are the ones that can be a bit more frustrating. One of these is Oops, a bronze trophy which requires you to simply hit an ally, but you can only do this if you have an online PS Plus subscription and friendly hits is set to on. So all you need to do then is just punch one of your teammates.
Sorry.
This can be really annoying though, because you either need to have PS Plus or multiple controllers to be able to do it locally, which is always annoying for certain people. Next up we have Walk on Foot, which is a bronze trophy which requires you to destroy all of the motorcycles during the Barben boss fight at the back of the biker bar. So he's the boss from Streets of Rage 2's first level, and he's still quite annoying in this one with his kicks. So you need to destroy all of the bikes in the background, but one of the problems that makes this annoying is whenever you destroy a bike, its owner, which is one of the biker chicks, comes out into the level, so you're effectively spawning more enemies as you destroy each bike. And if you keep destroying the bikes and not concentrating on the enemies, you can quickly find you're getting slammed around the place, and you may even lose a few lives. So you definitely maybe want to take it a bit slower, do one bike at a time and make sure you kill that biker before you do all the others. Otherwise you can be swarmed by enemies. But once you finally destroy the last bike in the area, you will unlock the trophy. Please note, you can't get those two at the very bottom. Okay, so next up we have Family Reunion, which requires you to get the golden chicken from the art gallery all the way back into the stock room of the art gallery. So you'll see this as you're playing through the stage on a plinth, and if you kick it or punch it, you can break it and the chicken will just be on the floor. So when I first saw this, I thought it was going to be a super chicken that would give me armor or something, but it doesn't. You can't actually eat it, but you can pick it up, and you then need to make sure you bring it with you all the way through the stage, being careful to put it down carefully. So you want to stand still and press circle to just drop it on the floor. If you're moving and you press circle, you will throw it, and there's a risk of you hitting an enemy or an object, which will then cause the chicken to break, and that's the last thing you want. So this will make the stage take a bit longer as you slowly go around with the chicken and make sure you don't drop it. Thankfully, enemies can't pick up the chicken and use it themselves, so it's just a case of slowly getting it back to the stock room. And as soon as you get into this room with the arcade machine and a load of other chickens, you will unlock the trophy. So perhaps the most annoying trophy is the Silver Perfect one, which requires you to complete an entire stage without taking damage. So that means getting through an entire stage and the end of level boss without ever getting hit once. And my god, this was a bit of a pain in the ass to get, to be fair. I would definitely recommend using Floyd, setting it to easy just to give you a bit of a better chance at not having some cheap bullshit, because enemies can often just walk up to you and get a little cheap shot in when you're not looking. or you might find the boss at the end will give you a bit of trouble. But if you use Floyd, he's a lot stronger than most of the other characters, so you can take out enemies quicker. Plus, his neutral triangle special, which happens if you're not moving and you press triangle, the ground stomp, actually makes you invincible, so you can just spam this, and being on easy, it means you won't use up much of your health when you use it, so you can just completely spam it. And you need to do that when you get to this first mini boss, the little robot thing. Just keep spamming it, even after you kill him, keep spamming it, just in case a rogue pipe is flying and it hits you, because otherwise you'll have to restart. So if you can get through, just take your time and take out enemies. If anyone gets a bit close to you, just keep spamming that triangle move. You can then punch some of the other enemies in the area to get back your health, or pick up many of the health pickups throughout the game, but you don't want to actually get hit at all, but you do want to refill your life so that you can keep doing the special. So even though you know you're not going to get hit, you still want to make sure you've always got full health. So once you get to the boss, you want to save all those star power-up moves and do your super specials on the boss. And again, just stand by the boss and keep spamming triangle whenever she gets up to do that special move. And if you're lucky, you'll get through the whole thing without getting hit.
Did not get hit for that.
And if you do, you'll get to the score screen and you'll see it says perfect. And that's when you'll know you've unlocked the annoying trophy in Streets of Rage 4. Well done. Okay, so that's all the annoying and easy ones. Now let's get onto the hard ones that will give your platinum journey a bit of trouble. First up is Combo Master, a silver trophy for getting an out of this world combo. So this is a really big combo. You need to get the combo meter's text to go to a sort of red pink colour. That's when you know you've done enough damage and enough hits in order to get an out of this world score. So one of the coolest places to get this if you're doing it in co-op is this construction bit. If you have someone staying on the wheel, the wrecking ball rather, to hit the enemies on the right, the other person on the left can protect that one with the two enemies that drop down in sets. That's a really easy place to get it. If you're playing solo, areas like the dojo with Floyd, because you can use your infinite special attack and just be safe, is a good place to get it. But there are loads of opportunities. You can even get it on stage 1 if you use the car and have a good combo going up to it. So there's plenty of chances to get it. And as you'll go through all the other trophies, it's one you'll get anyway, because you'll just get so good at the game. Next up, we have Stage Mastery, which is another tough one that requires you to get an S rank on any stage. But this is a bigger problem because you have to get an S rank for all stages for another trophy. So to get this S rank, you need to complete the level quite quickly. And you also need to make sure you get some big combos to get a lot of big score bonuses. So you want to try and get out of this worlds or amazing combos and make sure they get cashed in, because if you get hit and the combo breaks, if you're punching and you get hit, the combo will break and you will lose that score. If you're not punching, you're just standing there and you get hit, it will actually cash the score in. So that's a nice little trick to know. If you think you're about to get hit, just stand there and don't punch. So you want to do the level quickly, and you want to make sure you're getting as many combos as you can. You want to also try and save your star moves, because they will also give you some bonus points at the end for your score. And also, if you can, try and go into the stages that have the arcade machines. Because you can get another. You can often get another star there. And you also want to try and keep your health full, so you can pick up the chickens and get 1,000 points, or the other puddings and get 300 points for each one. If you've always got full health, you will get bonus points instead, and that definitely helps you get an S rank. Some of the stages are quite easy, but a lot are quite hard. So the next up is All Too Easy, another silver for completing a stage on Mania difficulty, which is the absolute hardest difficulty in the game. So you want to start from level 1 and just take your time with this. It is very tough, and you start with 0 lives, so it might take you a while. Next up we have 100 yen, which is a gold trophy. And for some people this might be the hardest thing in the game, and maybe the platinum blocker. It definitely gave me a lot of trouble, as it requires you to complete arcade mode in one single go without any game overs. But the big problem is you have to do it on hard, which is sort of the middle difficulty, but it's fucking horrible because the enemies are a lot stronger. Because they will have a lot of reinforcements around them, especially the bosses, and more enemies seem to just spawn in. Plus, you don't have many lives because you won't get many as you're playing through. Before and lower difficulties, you'll get lives every 8,000 points, but because you're playing it continuously, your score carries over from every stage, so it's bigger gaps in between the score thresholds for lives, so you'll often find yourself struggling with lives, and if you lose some early on, you may be in trouble in the later stages. I constantly was dying on stage 9 with the max fight at the top of Waay Tower, because that was just where I would just lose all my lives, and it was really tough to try and do it solo. I initially went with Floyd as he was a big heavy hitter, and I could try and hopefully use that triangle special to be invulnerable, but as you're playing on hard, that uses up a shitload of your health, so you can only really do it 2 or 3 times before you've barely got any life left, so it's not really a viable exploit to get through it easily. And they recently patched the game to make it a bit harder in ways, but a bit easier in other ways. So there'll be certain areas where it's a bit tougher, but other areas where it's a bit easier. So it's kind of a different journey now in the latest patch. I would definitely recommend, if you can, to try and do this online with someone. Hopefully you'll get lucky like I did, and you'll be paired with someone who is just brilliant at the game and would pretty much just carry you through it. If you have got to play it solo though, based on my experiences of getting the next trophy that I'm going to be talking about, I would say to use one of the Streets of Rage 1 characters, particularly Adam, because he will help you an awful lot with his long kick when you go up against those women who just do that jumping kick, who can be really annoying. He's also quite good at doing a 2-hit, and then a 3-hit combo, because that can pretty much just stun lock an enemy, and you can drain all of their health away. It was definitely easier S-ranking stages with him, so I would argue that it would be easier going through arcade with that character and not Floyd. This is just a really tough challenge, I'm not gonna lie. It's very, very hard, and it will take you a lot of attempts, and it can be really frustrating to get so far and just die and lose all your progress. There is a reason I picked this trophy as my trophy that was the most bullshit for that one bullshit PlayStation trophy episode, because it really is a test of your skill and your patience, and when I was trying to get this, I was not having much luck at all, and I really thought that this would be the trophy that would just block the platinum. But I persisted, and eventually with practice I started to get good at the stages. But what I would recommend is don't attempt this until the very end. You'll have 2 trophies left, and one of them should be this. But make sure you do the gold trophy for all of the S-rank stages, because that will get you used to all of the stages on hard, so you'll get a good rhythm of how pretty much to not die or to only take 1 life on each stage. So that will better prepare you for going in at it on hard arcade, because essentially if you do the S-rank stages, you completed the whole game on hard already. You just now need to take what you've learnt from going for that trophy and put it all into a single run when going for this arcade trophy. It will be very tough, very, very tough. It is a very tough trophy, and for me, the places where I lost the lives were at the bosses, to be honest. Max would take a load off me, Shiva would get me sometimes, Barbon could easily get me, and maybe Estelle would give me a bit of trouble as well. But if you can keep playing the levels over and over again, and finally learn a good way to deal with the bosses, with whatever character you are more comfortable with using, then you'll eventually start to get past them. I remember at the beginning I was dying on the Commissioner and probably losing like 2 lives before I got to stage 3, but after a while I started to get to like stage 5 before I lost a single life. So it's more of a, over time you will get better and you'll progress further before losing lives. But don't get me wrong, it is very tough, but when you finally unlock that trophy, boy, you will feel so good.
Holy shit, thank you so much.
Okay, so now for what is probably most people's hardest trophy besides the arcade mode, and that is the Maniac Gold Trophy, which is only a 1.6% unlock rate, and it's the lowest in the list, as it requires you to get an S rank on every stage playing under hard difficulty, and this really is fucking hard. Some of these stages are really tough to get a hard rank, an S rank in, as the requirements for points are really tight, and others can be quite easy. I remember doing stage 7 on the train fairly quickly, to be honest, and the pier I got in my first time of asking, which is the video clip that I'm showing now while playing as Adam from Streets of Rage 1. It's very much like I said in the original trophy for this first S rank. You need to make sure you can get through large sections, usually the first couple of areas, without getting hit and keeping your combo going, so you can get a big score off of that. to get into like the thousands already early on. And if you can maintain decent combos throughout, maybe getting like amazing ones or super ones, you'll often find that you probably do have enough points. And also try not to die. Some stages you can take a couple of deaths and be okay, but there are definitely other ones where you really don't want to die. I think stage 9, Waay Tower, I couldn't die once on that in order to get the S rank, so that one was one of the harder ones for me. Stage 1 as well, strangely, was also one that took me a long time to get the S rank in, yet stage 12 I did quite quickly. Some stages will have a bonus arcade machine that you can go in, and they definitely help because you can get the stars and get extra points from those at the end of the level. Sometimes you can use the stars, but you're often best to try and keep them to get those bonuses. Same with keeping your health full and going for a chicken, though on some levels you may want to save the chicken to actually heal you to prevent you from dying, even though you're going to lose that 1,000 points bonus from getting a chicken on full health. It will take you a lot of attempts to get some of these levels, and again, like the arcade one, it can often feel like it's impossible and that you'll never get it. I mean, it took me quite a few attempts to get my very first S rank on hard, and I really didn't think I was going to do it. But once I got that first one, I started to unlock them quite quickly. I did it over a course of 5 days throughout the week. On Monday I got my first, second, Tuesday I got about 3, Wednesday I got a couple more, and by Friday I unlocked about 5 in one night, which was really, really just unexpected because I didn't think I would get some of these, especially this peer one, which online a lot of people say is one of the harder ones because of the strict, tight sort of score limit. But if you just keep practicing it over and over, you can easily get this trophy with some skill and some practice. I would strongly advise as well, you need to get a good combo at the start, so if you fail, just repeatedly retry, and definitely mix up the characters. If one's not doing well, go through another. Adam is good for most stages. Shiva is also good because he's quite quick, but you may find he's easy to get hit. And Floy can also get you some S ranks because he can be invincible at times, but just keep trying and you will get it.
Wow, that was me S ranking every stage on hard in Streets of Rage, and I gotta say that was really tough.
So now let's talk about the biggest trophy grind in Streets of Rage 4, and that dubious honour belongs to the gold Bleeding Knuckles trophy, which requires you to reach a lifetime score of 5 million, which is an awful lot. And to get these points, you just have to complete stages, because every time you complete the stage, you'll get a score bonus based on all the enemies you killed. You can also get extra points by completing the stage quickly, with lots of health and lives remaining. With all of your power stars remaining, you'll get points for those. And you can also get bonus points on top of that for completing the stage with the character for the first time. So you definitely want to try and do all of the characters and not just stick to one. And you can also get some additional points if you set a new rank score for that stage. So there's lots of different ways you can earn points, but it is just a case of just constantly replaying the stages. By the time I got every other trophy, I got around 4.2 million, so I just had to play through the campaign a couple more times, because you can get about 200,000 from each stage. So with that in the way, let's see whether we should play, plat, or avoid Streets of Rage 4. Okay, so for my final verdict, I would definitely say Platinum Streets of Rage 4. This is a really, really good game, and while it's a bit cheap in places and a bit frustrating in places, and maybe not quite as good as Streets of Rage 2, it's definitely and fits honourably and comfortably as the second best Streets of Rage game for me, in my opinion, as it's just so much fun to play, and it really does take me back to the days of playing this Streets of Rage series with my brother when we were both little. It's a really fun game, and the trophy list is actually challenging, with a couple of the trophies being really hard, and they will test your skill and patience level. But if you can just persist, you will get better at the game, and it's one of those cool trophy sets where it makes you play the game better than you ever thought you could. And for that reason, I have to say Platinum it, because it makes you really appreciate the game